Hey everybody, this is Dan for GemmyD on Cars. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. It is a sort of glum and chilly day here in Mechanicsburg on a Tuesday, and we're looking at a pretty spicy car though. This is a 2021 Acura RDX A-Spec. Now, I think this would be a fantastic alternative for a sporty family SUV. If you didn't want to spend a little bit more to get the Germans, I think this is competent in so many ways. I think in the A-Spec trim, it absolutely looks fantastic. Now, this has a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 272 horsepower, 280 foot-pounds of torque. It'll go 0 to 60 in like 6.5 seconds, which you're not buying this car to get the all-out speed. You know, that's for the Audi SQ5s and X3Ms and anything. But this is way cheaper. Plus, I think this really looks as good as the Germans. Now, I am an owner of an Audi Q5, and I know what that car is all about. And this thing is everything is competent and powerful and luxurious. So we're gonna poke around. We're gonna get this thing out on the road. So let's talk about the RDX. Alright, so we got to talk about the styling. Now, this color is called Performance Red Pearl, and I think it looks really good. There's also like an inky blue color that looks really good on this RDX. Now, the A-Spec trim is more of a cosmetic-based trim. There is your badge for A-Spec, but that gives you, I think, the best-looking version of the RDX. That gives you this sort of gray finish wheels and the black trim everywhere on the door there, around the windows there, and in the front. Now, my dad said, this is my dad's car, he really enjoys the jewels of the LEDs. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there, and then the fog lights down low are 3 little sort of separate LEDs too. But Acura has these sort of, looks like you're flying through space.
All right, stand by.
There with the huge Acura grille, but this A-Spec trim really, I think, looks the best, and it complements this red color pretty well. And that sort of has the black trim right there. But going around to the back, now the A-Spec also gives you the bigger exhaust pipes right there. Those are finished in silver. I guess they're not black, which, and my dad said these are they're kind of bigger than they need to be with like a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, but I think they look pretty good. Now there's your little jewels right there for the reverse lights. But overall, this is a perfect size SUV for my dad. Now, my parents went through a whole saga with this car. Now, the car that I had before I got the Bronco was a light blue Acura RDX, a 2016. That was stolen, and then they returned it, and it was basically chopped up to hell, so that's why they got this car. But I really love the design. Now, this generation of RDX looks completely different than the previous one, and I think in a good way. That was still a fun car, and I drove that car for months last winter. Loved it. It was a very nice car, but that was a V6, but now they've gone to the 2-liter 4s. But I think this is a very attractive family SUV, and you also get the reliability that comes with Acura being the sort of luxury version of Hondas, but I think it looks great. Alright, so I mentioned about what makes the A-Spec trim good, and I think this is a nice package, competitively priced. I mentioned about the Germans, but you also have the Genesis and the Volvo that this would compete with. So let's take a look at the engine real quick. Alright, so here's the engine of the RDX. Now, this is a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, about 272 horsepower. Now, the previous generation RDX had a bigger engine, a 3.5-liter V6, but I know any more car companies are going for these smaller displacement turbo engines just for better fuel efficiency, a little bit more power. I mean, this has a little bit more power than the previous generation with way smaller engine, but this thing is definitely peppy enough. I drove this with my dad once before, and definitely you can feel the power. With this 4-cylinder, my dad gets close to 30 on the highway, you know, in the mid-20s going around town. But I mean, that's pretty good for a smaller displacement 4-cylinder. So this is I'd say a pretty strong motor. So let's take a look at the trunk. Alright, so here is the key to the Acura. We're going to look at the trunk. Now, this has something that I haven't actually seen in a while. You know, my dad rides his bikes a lot. He can put all of his stuff back there. So I have the 2 seats down, which you can put down with these, you know, normal things like everything else. But there is a compartment underneath here where you can put different stuff. That's some of his bike stuff. But then there is an additional compartment behind that. And I don't think I've really reviewed a car that has an extra storage thing right there. Now this does not have a full-size spare, so underneath that compartment there is like your air compressor to pump up your tires, but I don't think I've seen 2 additional storage things right there. Now this is plenty big enough, you know, for my parents, that my dad likes to take his bike places, and I will flash on the screen how much the cubic footage is of the storage here. But this is definitely similar to what my car is, the Audi Q5, other sort of compact, you know, sporty SUVs. So that's pretty cool. I've never seen a additional storage thing back there. So let's take a look at the interior. All right, so let's take a look at the inside of the RDX now. I think this interior color really complements the red color. You've got sort of the Alcantara on the middle of the seats to go with the black leather. You've got a nice little A-Spec kick plate right there. So when I reviewed the MDX earlier this year, I was really sort of impressed by what this Acura has been doing lately. Now I love the sort of extra storage down below here. There's your USB chargers down there, but that is a lot of extra space that you can use for all of your stuff. So I'm gonna close the door real quick and turn this bad boy on. So this is Acura has the shifter has been sort of controversial with what it is in the middle. It's just these buttons now. Plus this is your dynamic mode, and change the drive modes in the middle right there. But this is really nice. It's just sort of a mix of materials. You sort of have that other Alcantara on the dash right there to go along with the silver trim. Now this does have a pretty sweet radio setup. I think it's called the ELS Studio 3D. But if we just go into the home, now people have talked about how this trackpad is sort of annoying too, but you could just move your finger. See, as I move my finger left and right, it changes things up on the screen. But if we go to the music and then you click on the trackpad, let's just see what's on the radio. So yeah, it sounds really good. Like really good, like more than it should. Okay, don't want to get a copyright strike. So you can go through a bunch of different things on the main screen right here, and you can have 2 different things. Now that's the nav system, and this is your main thing right there. So if you wanted to go to Apple CarPlay, there's your phone right there. My phone is not paired with this, but there's a bunch of different things you can do, which I like how the screen is 10.2 inches wide. I like how you can go through a couple different things on the screen. So the dials are right above me. I have the tachometer on the left, the speedometer on the right. And this is kind of an attractive looking steering wheel. Now this is a 10-speed automatic, and you do have these paddle shifters below here, behind the wheel right there. But this sort of just looks like an interesting face right here with the eyes and the mouth. But yeah, I like the quality of things in here. I like the stitching that goes along. I guess this is to rest your arm on right there, to go through there. Now when you go into the dynamic modes, that is your sport, comfort, snow, and these animations are pretty cool right there. Now into Sport Plus is where you go into the attack mode. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the way these companies do the graphics. I know Ford has some pretty cool ones there. So when you go into Sport Plus, that gives you your turbo and your G meter right there. But there's your trip odometer, trip computer on the side right there. But you can go through a couple different things. Now this does have all your typical safety features. You know, you have your lane keep assist, your radar cruise control, a couple different things. But yeah, this is pretty impressive quality in this Acura. I like the extra storage that you get underneath here and the little cubby down below. I would put lots of stuff down there, just sort of frees up everything of your cup holders right there. So good job by Acura. I'm definitely impressed with this quality of this Acura in here. So let's take a look at the back seat. If you had a family, a smallish family, like somebody like me that has 1 kid, this is definitely more than enough space. Now you have the same Alcantara on the seats with the leather, with just all my gear down here. Now there's the back seat down right there. Now you can get a good view of the sort of panoramic sunroof from back here, and it does have a cover that goes over the whole way. I mean, this is another thing that car companies are doing later, because I guess these panoramic sunroofs are pretty popular, which I'm a big fan of. Yeah, there's a nice view of the dash back there. Now this is perfectly comfortable. Don't have any controls for HVAC back here, but that's okay. You do have your USB chargers, which is a nice feature for your family and your kids. But yeah, the same quality, same craftsmanship back here. I don't think I've seen a seat that has that sort of design that the Alcantara goes in the middle. So Acura, this is pretty solid interior. I like the piping and the stitching. So I'm definitely liking what I'm seeing from this Acura. I think the quality is pretty decent in this car, and I mean, you're getting, let's say, 9/10 of the luxury you get from an Audi Q5 or BMW X3. I don't think I have anything complaints for anything in the interior. I mean, these cars are, you know, let's say $50,000 new. This one was used, so it was a little bit less. So I think if you're willing to spend that kind of money, the Volvos are way more expensive. I think the Audi, BMW, Mercedes are more expensive than this car. So I think you still do get a good value to go along with the driving experience, which we will experience in a few minutes. But Acura, I'm impressed with this car. This is the second one I've done this year, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing. So let's wrap this up. All right, so I'm doing my wrap-up video on the inside here because the train's going by and it's just taking forever. So this is a 2021 Acura RDX in the A-Spec trim, which I think is the trim to get. There's also the technology trim and the advanced trim, which gives you different variations of navigation and safety features and audio. But I think this A-Spec trim with the black trim, especially in this color, the Performance Red Pearl, looks pretty fantastic. So I would definitely recommend this SUV for a smaller family if you're looking for something sporty that still looks great, you know, and definitely can compete with the Germans. I mean, I would pick this over like a Mercedes GLC. I don't know why it is, but the Germans are more of the luxurious side, or Mercedes is more of the luxurious side, but I guess I prefer more sporty. That just screams like old white-haired man to me. So big thank you to my mom and dad for letting me take this thing out, which we're gonna get it out on the road now. So if you like car reviews like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right here. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at GemmyD on Cars. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next one. See ya.